Thanks for joining us again on this part of the Mustang Revamp. We're going to replace the parking brake cables. This is a good one. I'm going to try not to make it too long. Thank you for joining us. This is A&E. On the last video, I showed you these parking brake cables there. It's supposed to hook into your brake caliper here on this connection right here. That part wraps around and kind of hooks in there. Having trouble with the parking brake. Mainly it doesn't work. And given this car had some brake issues with the brakes like always being on, I was afraid that even the parking brake, if you got it engaged, that it wouldn't release. And you can tell just the end of this one is frayed and corroded. I have a feeling that there's several places along this cable that's like that. Anyway, you can't push or pull this side in and out, but maybe 1/4 inch. The other side, maybe a 1/2 inch. So today we're going to replace those, and it's not as easy as it would sound. Step one. All right, so I got you under the car. Try and see if that'll zoom in for us. At least focus. Okay. The single parking cable right there is what comes from your parking brake lever inside the car, which then pulls on this. I'm going to call it a yoke, which in turn pulls your right and your left cable, which pulls that lever on your brake caliper, which engages the brakes. So parking brake's not working. These are more than likely the culprit. Now, when we get to the interior of the car and we start, taking apart trim and whatever, we're going to look at the lever inside to make sure that there's nothing bent, broke, needs replacing, lubrication, whatever. Step one of this job, seeing as how we got to be messing with all that right there. Well, that's your drive shaft. I can get my hand in here, but I'm gonna have to get some pliers in here to get these connections off. And there's a bolt right there. I can't do all that with the drive shaft on. So we'll take the bolts out of that end. We're going to drop the drive shaft down so that we can get in there. So I'm going to drop that down. I'm going to get this bolt out, and then I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but they've got like barbs on them. When you push them through, the barbs catch. But in this situation where our space is tight, getting this back out is going to be a chore. Now these will just pop right off that, and we'll just do that right there. Got to get those out. Got to get this bolt out, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I got these ends off. This little bracket was here holding the hose, the brake cables, up against the floor, and that wasn't a bolt that was in it or a screw, it was a rivet. So I thought, well, I'll just bend the ears down to get the cable out from under it. Well, it broke. rivet broke. So when we go to put this back, I just put me a short, fat screw in it. So got that into the cable loose. So I got to pull it out from in there, and then the other side goes out. It's really hard to see under here, but it's not a complicated job. It's just, you know, it's like everything else. It's just hard to get to stuff. This little bracket, you know, this little bracket right here, I took that out with a 5/16. It wasn't the right size, but it got that out. And then it goes, the parking brake cable goes through this, and then goes to, you know, the brake caliper back there. So I pulled it out of this, took that little screw out, it dropped down. I've got the other end loose, so I should just be able to pull this out now, you know, just like that. Anyway, I'm gonna get under there and look so I don't, you know, tear something loose I'm not supposed to, like fuel lines. Well, there they are. Got some new cables. So we're gonna feed these through, and hopefully that'll fix our parking brake situation. All right, I have the cables pushed through. Got them in there. So that was a rivet that was holding it in, and I was just going to bend the ears down, put the new cables under it, but as soon as I tried to bend those down, the rivet broke out. So I just found myself self-tapping bolt, short one, because this is it's probably still between the bucket seats. I'm not exactly sure, but the bolt was short enough to where, you know, the padding and the carpet or whatever, it's under there. So got that holding those down. The trick to getting those out, you know, the old ones with the barbs, once you take these loose, which that's easy, get you a small hose clamp like for lawnmowers. Slide it over there, put it on that dude, tighten it up, and it'll squeeze them barbs together, and you can start to slide it out. We'll hold it with this hand, take your hose clamp off, and you can slide it the rest of the way out. Makes it a whole lot easier. All right, so got them run through there, got them run out the back. The new cables don't come with, you know, with this or this. This is just a grommet, and, you know, it's supposed to keep it from rubbing or whatever. So I'll take this off, which, yeah, I'll take that off. I'll take that off and reuse those. Then the only thing we like is connecting that into the brake caliper, and that will be it for the parking brake cables. There is one important step that you have to take before you connect the ends of the parking brake cables to the brake caliper, and that is you have to release the tension that's already on your parking brake. This brake is self-adjusting as your brake pads wear. This parking brake increases the tension automatically. So we put new cables on it, but we've got to release this tension so that we'll have enough slack in the cable to hook it onto the brake caliper. So that's what we're going to do right now, is we're going to release the tension that's on the parking brake. and it's going to be in this assembly up under this arm console right here. So we got two, I believe they're 7 or 8 millimeter right here, and then inside the armrest there's two right there. We're going to take those out, slide this console out, and then we'll see how to release the tension on the parking brake. All right, we got the console out, and immediately what I see, that hole's not supposed to be there. This bolt, uh, from what I've researched, it's common for these bolts to pull through this really thin sheet metal right here. So we're going to have to use some fender washers, um, really thin plate of some kind on the up under the car and up here on top, to get this back to where it's supposed to be. Because that, it's supposed to hold your parking brake handle stationary while you pull on that. What we're after is this wheel right here. I don't know if you can see the cable running through there. That's the single cable that goes down into a little bracket that both the rear cables are hooked into. And so this wheel right here is what we need to release tension on. And I'm not 100% certain yet on how to do that. So we will learn together. I have figured out how to release the tension on your parking brake, so it's going to make it possible to then hook in your parking cable ends into your brake caliper. First of all, that bolt didn't actually pull through. See, this square nut fits that perfectly square hole right there, so it's lightly spot welded in. Anyway, jerk on this enough, how we all do, put them in the parking place, and then just jerk this thing up like we're pulling a parachute. But do that enough, and that's going to come out. So we need to get a bolt with some nice big fender washers to reattach that. Also, back here in the back, these rivets have pulled through, so we've got some rivets. We'll probably just pop new rivets in there, put a nice bolt in there to hold that. Now, as far as the tension on your parking brake, this little bracket, there was a 7mm screw. By the way, those are 7mm. The ones under your armrest, 7mm. There's a little bolt holding this little bracket on right here that's 7mm. This bracket is keeping this pawl, I guess you would call it. Show you, put a little light on it so you can actually see. See, this wheel has teeth on it. And this pawl was engaged about halfway down, which I guess, I don't know if they tensioned it from the factory because, it's supposed to be automatic tensioning, but with this up against the pawl, it can't, it can't adjust itself. I don't know exactly why that is, but all I was interested in was releasing the tension that's already on it. So take your 7mm socket, take that little bolt out. This little bracket just pops right off. Then I took a screwdriver stuck it right under that pawl, and I popped it up. You know, it's got a spring on it to try to hold it in place, but just, you know, as soon as you do that, nothing dramatic happens. It's just that this particular wheel rolled down slowly, actually, until now it's at the very first. If you can see that, it's in the first notch. So I went back to the rear and checked. So my parking brake cable ends now had enough slack in them. I could grab them with some vice grips, and you just roll them. You just roll them around that edge right there, and it's just cable goes in the slot. The head here stays, you know, caught by this. So when you pull your parking brake up, it your cable pulls this lever, pulls it this way, engages your parking brake. So the parking brake cables are installed. The tension is off of them. Now, I can't really check to see if I need to add tension, because, you know, we gotta fix that, because it's, you know, it's not bolted down yet. If you'll notice, I'm gonna do this even though it's not bolted in, but watch that pawl. You see how it's moving lower on the wheel? It just clicked into the second notch. That's the automatic tensioning right there. So once I get it bolted down, the parking brake should engage within, I would say, 3 clicks, 2 clicks. I'd say definitely by 4 clicks we should be engaging the parking brake. So it's going to be a little bit of testing and trial and error on this. But we don't even have wheels on the car right now. So when we get the wheels back on and all that good stuff, the parking brake is something that we can definitely, you know, test out and make sure that we have enough tension, but not too much tension. You don't want the brake dragging, but you also want it to engage, you know, I'm going to say within 2 clicks, 3 clicks. So that's it for the parking brake cables. If you're having parking brake cable trouble out of your Mustang, hopefully this helped. Maybe you saw something that that you could use. Maybe I did something wrong that now you can do right. Of course, it's kind of rare that I do something right that you might can copy, but anyway, hope you're enjoying the series. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Be kind to one another.